This isn't the movie Taken. Liam Neeson isn't going to show up in a black Audi and Versace suit to rescue his innocent victim daughter from gunslinging mobsters. Sex trafficking across America is a more clandestine activity hidden within the commercial sex industry that has flourished in our country for decades, as well as in plain sight under the veneer of legitimate businesses. Human trafficking is the process of trapping people through the use of violence, deception, or coercion and exploiting them for financial or personal gain. What trafficking really means? It's girls groomed and forced into sexual exploitation. People don't have to be transported across borders for trafficking to take place. In fact, transporting or moving the victim doesn't define trafficking. It can take place within a single country or even within a single community. Alexis was kidnapped and trafficked in August of 2017, but did she fall prey again that early morning on September 23rd, 2017? This is Alexis's story through the eyes of strangers. August 26, 2017, Alexis told her mother she was thinking about going out of town to do a Mayweather fight, but did not tell her mom the part about she was going to be an escort for a bachelor party in Vegas. She just got out of a relationship and was out to find her place in this world for herself and her son. But her mom was against it because, like most mothers, she didn't want anything to happen to her daughter in Vegas. And Vegas is a long way from Peoria, Illinois. She decided to go anyways when her mom was at work. Alexis and a friend took a bus from Peoria to Chicago, and she called her mom while waiting for her flight. And when her mom asked her how she was paying for the trip to Vegas, she told her not to worry about it. One of her best friends was going to babysit her little boy while she was away. When she arrived in Vegas, she was told the bachelor party she was being paid to be an escort had been canceled, and things took a wrong turn. Her mother knew something was very wrong because she had a hard time getting in touch with Alexis. Every time she would call, a man would answer her phone. He would tell her mom things like, "You're calling the wrong number." The mom called her friend that she went with, and she also started making excuses, just like she's out having fun or she's busy right now, and she would have Alexis call her back. Alexis was due to be back August 28th, but she didn't make it back like she had planned. Alexis's friend was giving her mother more excuses, like she missed her flight, she's in California, and then she didn't even know where she was. But she was leaving without her because she had her own kids to get back home to. She did not tell Alexis's mother what was really going on. Did she know? Was this the same friend that was riding around drinking and getting high with Alexis when she fell asleep? Drugged possibly? Was this the same girl that had possible connections with the guy that paid for Alexis's plane ticket to get to Vegas? The only one that supposedly sold her into trafficking and set her up to get kidnapped that day? It was stated by a different friend that Alexis told her she was riding with her friend to California, fell asleep, but woke up and her friend had disappeared, and she was in a car with a man. Every time Alexis's mother called her phone, either a man or her friend would answer. Is this the man who was driving the car? The guy would not let her out of the car, she said. They ended up in a hotel. Next, the story jumps to a phone call Alexis's mother received from a woman in California. She said that she had found her on the strip beaten and naked. They had took her to Walmart and bought her some clothes and had her at their residence, but she needed help getting back home because she didn't have no money. Alexis's mom, April, paid for a bus ticket back home, and she arrived back home September 4th. Two of Alexis's friends picked her up at Chicago and drove her to Peoria. When she arrived home on the 4th, she had been badly beaten. It was obvious. When her mother asked her what happened, she told her she didn't want to talk about it. After coming home, her whole demeanor had changed. She wasn't happy like she used to be before that trip to Vegas. On Friday, September 22nd, Alexis Camry Scott left her house between 11 p.m. and 12 o'clock a.m. April, Alexis's mother, had taken Alexis's son to bed that night, leaving Alexis and her brother up. Alexis was on Snapchat and Facebook messaging people. Two of her guy friends, the same two that picked her up at the bus station just weeks before, had stopped by and picked her up, and they rode around for a while, drinking and getting high. At 4:30 a.m., the other passenger in the car was dropped off at his home. The driver stated he took Alexis by her house to change her clothes, then dropped her off at 123 or 125 Richmond at 5:09 a.m. at a party she planned on attending. She was messaging someone at the address right before they arrived. The driver wasn't invited to the party, but did know about it. He said he wasn't sure if the house was 123 or 125 Richmond because he had been drinking, but does remember there were people on both porches, but did not see who she met up with after getting out of the car. This is where things start to get real shady and very sketchy. There have been conflicting reports from a few witnesses that told different stories about her leaving. A guy told Alexis's mother that she left walking between 5 and 5:30 a.m., but gave her traveling in two different directions. Two women that were at the party said that she had gotten into a blue or dark colored Impala with tinted windows. After the investigators reviewed surveillance video from the business across the street from the house, they seen this was not the case. The surveillance video did not show Alexis leaving the residence, nor arriving there for that matter. Documents that were released on 8/29/18 at a press conference that 7:49 a.m. an Impala was moved from the front of the house to the rear alley as everyone in the front yard moved to the back of the house. At approximately 8:15 a.m., the black Impala leaves from the alleyway. Also, when Alexis's mother asked Alexis's brother, did he see her come back that night to change clothes? He told her no. She did not come back because if she had, he would have to get up to unlock the door because she lost her keys while in Vegas. Later that morning, when April woke and seen she wasn't home, but thought she would be home soon because they had plans for the day. She tried to call and message her a few times throughout the day, but thought maybe she had met up with some friends and was out having a good time. Sunday, she still was not home and was not answering her phone calls or messages. Her mother thought for sure she would be home by Monday morning because she had to work and she would have to be there to watch her son. On Monday morning, April started to get real worried because she still had not returned home, nor was she answering her phone. On September 27th, the Wednesday following her disappearance, April started messaging her Facebook friends trying to locate her. She finally was able to speak to the guys that Alexis had left the house with that evening, and after getting their information, she decided to file a police report. April filed a missing person report with Officer Irving. Officer Irving begins investigating by talking to a couple of the last known people to see Alexis. When the officer returned, he told Alexis's mother that he would be filing a missing and endangered report on Alexis. It wasn't until Sunday, October 1st, while Alexis's mother and her search team were conducting the first search for Alexis, an investigator finally called her. She wasn't able to meet with him that day because he had just received the missing person file and had not read over its contents entirely, so he set up a date for them to talk in person. At this meeting, April discussed some information she had obtained. The people that live in the house the party was given and had made a post on Facebook that they needed a washer and dryer moved immediately, only a few hours after Alexis had disappeared. Her point being, the party was still going on well after daylight that Saturday morning, so why would they be trying to dispose of a washer and dryer when everyone should have been asleep by that time the Facebook post was made? Also, they were pressure washing their house. The detective did not think neither of the events was connected to Alexis's disappearance. After talking to April, Detective Rogers and Detective Calbo went to 125 Richmond. At that time, Detective Rogers gained consent and the residence was searched along with the backyard. Detective Rogers obtained login information the same day from a friend of Alexis's so her Facebook page could be monitored. The detectives started conducting interviews the days following the missing and endangered report was filed. On 10/4/17, detectives received consent to search a music studio located in Peoria. On October 4th, one of the surveillance videos of a business in the area was obtained. And on October 7th, surveillance video from the car wash that is across the street from the location of where the party was that night. October 10th, Alexis's mother received a message that said one of the girls that was connected to the guy that paid for the ticket for Alexis to get to Vegas had sold her daughter to a man. Sold. April reported this to law enforcement, but no one contacted her back. On October 11th, Detective Rogers spoke to a taxi driver for Big Daddy Cab who said that she dropped Alexis off at 125 Richmond around 4:00 a.m. on 9/23/17. According to a podcast that featured April Allen, a taxicab driver made a comment on the police department Facebook page saying she was the one that took Alexis to the party, not the guy. She said she knew for a fact because she remembered what she had on. She said she takes her places quite frequently. She's the one Alexis calls when she needs a ride. She said she took her to the party between 4 and 5:30 that morning, and Alexis said she wasn't going to stay that long and she would call her back when she was ready to go. On November 28, 2017, information was received about a Craigslist ad for prostitution. FBI sex trafficking agent out of Chicago was contacted and given all the information on Alexis's case. On December 4th, cadaver dogs were taken back to 125 Richmond to search yards. December 19th, law enforcement had received information from a man who allegedly drove the items that were taken from the residence on Richmond to the outside of the city to be burnt. He was told to drive a U-Haul truck to help get rid of some items that was being removed from the residence where Alexis was supposedly last seen, and it was the same morning Alexis had disappeared. It's just not normal for someone to drive that far out of the city to burn certain items from a residence, according to witnesses that have came forward. He said he opened up the U-Haul van door and seen more blood in the U-Haul than he'd ever seen in his life. On December 21st, 2017, detectives went to Canton and spoke to neighbored witnesses to the mattress fire. December 27th, a search warrant was executed for the property in Canton where a mattress was burned. The search was done with cadaver dogs around the burn pile. The pile contained the mattress and other items the man had mentioned in his report to the police. On that Saturday, when Alexis disappeared at 4:30 p.m., the Fulton County Fire Department was dispatched due to a mattress and carpet set fire on property located in Canton. This fire also matches up with the report the man had made as well on January 3rd, 2018. Detectives searched approximately 6 miles on foot between Hillside Drive and East Gardner Lane due to information obtained from a medium. Nothing was located. This is very surprising that they actually followed up on a tip from a psychic, the first I've ever heard. On Friday, April 12th, 2019, April Scott appeared on the Steve Wilkos show to confront a man she suspects to be involved in her daughter's disappearance and hear his story of how he knew Alexis. A polygraph test was given to the man, and he passed it after being asked several different questions. As in if he knew anything about Alexis's disappearance, he was asked. The man may be telling the truth, but let's keep in mind why polygraph testing is not admissible in a court of law in every state. After all the tips detectives have followed up on and in the direction this case has gone, why hasn't law enforcement made an arrest? Is it not clear to them, as it is to everyone else, who is responsible for Alexis Camry Scott's disappearance? Yes, I'm sure it's clear to them, but they just don't have enough facts to piece together to make an arrest. As frustrating as it is, you have got to have enough on one person to make the charge stick. Unlike in this case where you have a crime organization covering their tracks. Was she a victim of trafficking? It really seems like it, but once again, you have the burden of proof. I'm not going to lie, Alexis's mother has been through pure hell the last 3 years. I have seen horrible comments about Alexis. How can you judge her without walking a mile in her shoes? Victims of trafficking is not always what the media shows us. Many traffickers prey on victims who are looking for the promise of a better life, a job opportunity, or a romantic relationship. They are not always locked in deplorable rooms or chained to walls. Some are groomed and are slowly moved into positions that look glamorous until they are as far out as they are in, and then they will pull them away from the world as we all know it. Since that day, Alexis has not accessed any of her social media accounts, texted, or called anyone from her phone. She has never called and checked up on her son. There is no proof she even left the party willingly, if she was ever at that party at all. They have two different people saying they dropped Alexis off that night, which is insane itself. It sounds like the organization is building a better case than law enforcement. Or are they covering their paths on every move they make? But it has been stated that the same guy that bought her the ticket to Vegas had ties to the house that she disappeared from. April is convinced there is a connection between her first disappearance and her second, but law enforcement isn't as sure as she is. But Alexis did fear for her life just days before her disappearance. Alexis made her money a different way than most beautiful young ladies. She was an escort, but remember, at 5:09 a.m. on September 23rd, 2017, she was just meeting up with people she thought that were her friends. She just was out to relax and try to forget what happened weeks prior to that evening. She took nothing with her but the clothes she was wearing, a phone, and her ID. She had planned on going back home, where her son was and where her peace was. There is no conclusive evidence that she ever left the residence, but she hasn't been seen since. Alexis was 20 years old when she disappeared. She's a black female with long brown hair and brown eyes. She weighs approximately 100 to 110 pounds and is 5 foot 1 inch tall with tattoos. If you have any information of what happened to Alexis Camry Scott on the evening of September 23, 2017, please call Crime Stoppers at 309-673-9000 or contact the Peoria Police Department at 309-494-8371. Alexis, wherever you are, may peace be with you. Subscribe to The Missing Truth for further updates on Alexis Camry Scott's case and like us on our Facebook page and group. Remember, some sort of truth remains in a lie.